y buenos días. Welcome to section 2C, que se llama En el restaurante. Escucha, restaurante. So at the end of that word, restaurante, it's an ant, not an ont. And that makes sense. With the spelling, it's A-N-T, no? En el restaurante, página 23, actividad 9. Y las instrucciones say, ¿qué palabras reconoces? And I love palabras, words, muy importante. Connect it with a parable if you like. A parable is a story with a moral. So palabra, there's a loose connection, isn't there? So palabra, and ¿qué palabras reconoces? That reconoces, that got me interested. It means recognize, you recognize. So it's a cognate. Reconoces, recognize. You can see how that's a cognate. Puedes escuchar how it's a cognate. But it's also interesante because conoces means you know. Okay, so that I like. There are two words for though, and that's one for no, and that's one of them. Perdón. So, ¿qué palabras reconoces? La actividad is to just look at those palabras y las imágenes and just decide whether you reconoces las palabras or no. But I think es más interesante if you try to, just for un momento, if you try to memorizar las palabras. So we have tres palabras en el grupo que se llama primer plato, the first plate. We would call them dishes, wouldn't we? So it's a similar, la idea es igual, is the same. La idea es igual. El primer plato, the first dish, the first plate. So tres, ahí, tres platos. Tres platos en el segundo plato, en la categoría que se llama segundo plato. Tres platos en la categoría que se llama postre. And postre, of course, is dessert or pudding, and that comes after. So that makes sense too, doesn't it? Because post comes after, postnatal, post-mortem. These are things that come after. So postre comes after the meal. And then bebidas, you've got cuatro ejemplos en la categoría de bebidas. Bebidas, of course, isn't a cognate with drink, but it is a cognate with beverage. So, en mi opinión, es una buena idea to try to remember tres, cuatro. Es difícil because naturally we're quite lazy animals. We like to conserve energy, and of course it costs energy, it costs el poder del cerebro to memorizar, even for a short time, but it's worth it, vale la pena, because it builds your brain power and it builds your español. So that's what I would like you to do for actividad 9. So if you pause the video, bien, I hope you were able to memorizar some of those palabras. And there are a couple of palabras que quiero comentar. First of all, I would like to quiero comentar, perdón, carne. Carne means meat. It's a cognate with carnal. And of course we have chili con carne, chili with meat, claro. Also pollo y pescado. Pollo is the meat from a chicken. A chicken when it's alive is una gallina, or a cockerel is un gallo. So it's a different word for la carne y el animal. Same with fish. Pescado es la carne y un pez is a fish, and that's a cognate with Pisces. And what else did I want to comment? Oh yes, sopa is soup, of course. The children who I teach sometimes think it might be soap. En el contexto, no. Y bien, the last word is helado, which is ice cream. Helado is in the same family as yellow, and yellow means ice, and that's spelt H-E-E-L-O. Yellow, yellow. It sounds like yellow. Okay. So if you would like to make note of that vocabulario, pause this video while you do that. Muy bien. And I forgot to ask, ¿qué tal? How are you? Yo estoy un poco cansada. Oh, ¿sí? Cansada means tired. Pero estoy contenta. I'm happy. Bien. Estamos en página 23 and we're looking at actividad. Oh, 10. La actividad 10 es en 3 partes. Parte A just asks you to look, mira la foto y predecir qué dice la mujer. Now you know the word mujer means wife, but it also means woman. El camarero is the waiter, so imagine un camarero who's called Cameron from Cameroon, el camarero, y la mujer is the woman. So, ¿qué pregunta el camarero? ¿Qué dice? What does the woman say? ¿Qué dice la mujer? And this dice comes from a verb decir, which means to say. So have a look at that verb. I'll put it here. Decir. So yo digo, tú dices, ella dice. We can make sentences with that. Es interesante. So what this actividad A is asking you to do is to imaginar, predecir. And this is an important thing to do when you're learning. So mi sugerencia is to look back to página 20, page 20, to get some ideas about what el camarero might be asking and what la mujer might be saying, diciendo. Pause the video and do that now. Parte B, you need to just listen, escucha, to track 27, 27 is 27. Just listen, and you're just trying to pick out la comida, the food, y las bebidas, the drinks, the beverages. So pause the video and do that now. Bien. And I think when you're listening to those diálogos for the first time, you don't get everything. I might be wrong. So actividad 10 parte C, I don't know why I'm doing that, part C, parte C, is to really look at el diálogo en más detalle, in more detail. So it gives you a box of some missing words to put into el diálogo. I don't know if you know all of those words, so here are the words en inglés mixed up. So if you look at the little box, I'll put it up here. If you look at the little box and try to match the Spanish con el inglés, just do that now. Bien. And these are the answers. So if you want to check, there they are. All right, we have vino is wine, vino, usted is you, quieren is you want if it's formal and it's a couple of people. So que quieren, what do you want? So when you have that ustedes, ellos, ellas forma del verbo, it often ends with the letter N, okay? If not always. So quieren is you want, plural, polite. Quieren. And quiero with the o al final, that's for I. Almost all of the verbs that in the present tense that are for I, yo, end in o. So quiero is I want, okay? Postre, primer, la cuenta is the bill. And I put a couple of extras on there. I put on cortado, which is a short coffee with a little bit of leche, a little dash of leche, or azúcar, which is sugar. Okay, so that's getting familiar con el vocabulario. La idea now is to put that vocabulario into the gaps in that diálogo. If it was me, I would copy out the whole diálogo because I wouldn't want to escribir en my beautiful libro. So it's up to you how you do it. I also think there's not really enough espacio in the textbook to be able to write it out in the book. So it's better to get your papel and your boli and write it out separately. And then when you escucha para comprobar, which was what you'll do al final after you've put the vocabulario into el diálogo, it will all open up so much more to you and you'll get so much more and you'll understand so much more. Entenderás mucho más. That is, you will understand much more. Escucha, entenderás mucho más. That second time of listening. So you've got a couple of things to do. Fill the words en el diálogo and then escucha para comprobar. Do that now. Excelente. I hope that diálogo opened out más para ti. Now, actividad 11 en página 24 asks you to practicar un diálogo similar. So let's just have one more look at ese diálogo. El camarero has 3 or 4 ways to ask you que quiere. Now I'm going to use que quiere, so it's just una persona, usted. ¿Sí? Que quiere usted? So, ¿qué quiere usted? Simple. ¿Qué quiere comer? Now, comer means to eat, okay? ¿Qué quiere comer? Sounds a bit like Con Air, the film with Nicolas Cage. Comer, comestible, comer, to eat. ¿Qué quiere beber? Beber means to drink, like a beverage. Like a bebida. ¿Qué quiere beber? And then he has this fourth way of saying it, and that's just y de postre, y el primer plato, y. So it's just using that word y, which means and. So you can varia el diálogo using those four things that el camarero puede decir. And then there's a couple of things that you can say. You can say, yo quiero, I want, yo quiero ensalada, or para mí, for me, para mí. And of course you can look through, because yo soy vegetariana, yo no quiero pescado, no quiero pollo, no quiero carne. So I could use this word I again, which means is there. If I was inventing my own dialogue, I would say, hay tortilla de patata. Bueno, quiero tortilla de patata. O solo quiero patatas fritas, por favor. See? So that's what I would like you to do. Try to get your two little finger people talking to each other. Your camarero, your cliente. Hola, buenos días. ¿Qué quiere? Quiero el menú del día. ¿Qué quiere de primer plato? Quiero ensalada. Y de segundo plato, yo quiero. Bueno, ¿hay tortilla de patata? Sí, hay. Bueno, tortilla de patata, por favor. Y para beber, to drink, yo quiero agua con gas, por favor. Tengo coche, I have a car, I'm driving. Quiero agua con gas. Muy bien. Y de postre, yo quiero fruta. I'm on a diet, it seems. Aquí tiene. This phrase, aquí tiene. Aquí means here, and tiene means you have. And that's what they say when we would say, here you are. So you might like that as well. El camarero would say that. Aquí tiene, muchas gracias. La cuenta, por favor. And he gives you the bill. Muchas gracias, adiós. So you are now going to try to practicar tu diálogo. Okay? Pause the video and do that. Muy bien. I hope that you got some nice diálogo going con el camarero y el cliente. Now we move on to Actividad 12 en página 24. Now I think my favorite parte de esta actividad es las instrucciones. ¿Quién dice qué? What a lovely question. Who says what? ¿Quién dice qué? I like that. So, la idea es unir los dibujos con las frases. You've got la lista de frases. What I would do, yo recomiendo, es escribir las frases. Write down the letters for the pictures, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. And then usa un proceso de eliminar las opciones. There are some that are obvious, like salud, that's cheers when they're both drinking. There are some that are less obvious. ¿Quién dice qué? Who's asking for the bill? La cuenta, por favor. Esta bocadillo es bueno. That's obvious. She's busy eating el bocadillo, pardon. So give it your best shot and just get into las frases. Pause the video and do that now. Muy bien. Of course, you mustn't forget that to get the learning from esta sección, you need to use your SMART goals. So you need to know at least 4 drinks and 3 starters, 3 mains, 3 seconds. You need to know the words for waiter and woman and client. You need to know how to say different ways to ask for food, different ways to ask what someone wants. What do you want to eat? What do you want to drink? What do you want for your first course? And you need to know these phrases like cheers, here you are. So once you have been able to say those without looking at the book, and you can come back to it after 5 minutes and do it again, and you can come back to it after an hour, and you can do it in the morning, por la mañana y por la noche, then you'll be ready for section 2D, and I'll see you there. Hasta pronto. Adios.